So one thing I found so interesting as a speaking coach with my career in training women and people in general in public speaking is that there's a really interesting loophole when it comes to communication. Because we speak as individuals, don't we? It's how we communicate. So when it comes to speaking, having conversation, talking in front of people, we assume that it's something we should be really good at.
Focus is crucial. And so if you're seeing all this negative stuff, what pages are you following? Who can you follow that bring you more joy?
We all have stuff in our lives that doesn't work out. This is life.
Whatever it is, decide on your career, believe in that decision, begin doing something about it and become that.
We have the opinion that speaking is something that should come naturally to us, right? It's normal, it's how we communicate, we should be good at it. So our expectation for ourselves with communication is set so high. And so often when we do it the very first time and we don't nail it, or we don't ace it, what happens? You're not good enough. Like you to stuff up, isn't it? Make another mistake, yeah? Not like you, of course you fucked up in front of your friends, right? Like things like that, that self-talk that we have is often so correlated when we don't thrive or strive for perfection the very first time we try a new skill. So what I want to teach you today with communication is firstly, let's see it as a skill, not as something you're naturally born with, which means that you can get better at it. You are able to improve your ability to communicate. You are able to get better at public speaking. You are able to enjoy it, believe it or not. And today, I'm going to teach you how. Now, who here thinks that communication is a skill that you are born with? Yeah, a few. Who here believes it's a skill that is learned? Beautiful. Well, I like to think that I'm social proof, that communication is a skill that you can learn. Reason being, as a young woman, as a young girl, I had severe social anxiety and I grew up with a lisp. So I had a really bad speech impediment. Who here knows what a lisp is? Yeah, so you kind of articulate your S's very cutely, right? But as a young girl, that was seriously crippling for my confidence. And it made me feel really awkward, really uncomfortable, and I wasn't able to communicate properly with my peers. And actually for 6 months of my life, I was mute, didn't talk. Because at school, the bullying became so pervasive that I just shut down. And I didn't talk in school and I didn't raise my hand in class, and it became something where I had such a negative relationship with speaking. Here's part of my conversation here. And the reason that I developed such a negative connotation with speaking was because I was fearful of judgment. I was fearful of my peers thinking things about me or saying things about me, and so I just shut down entirely. And it wasn't until I started speech pathology, got into drama nerd, and started debating that I really started to become more confident in public speaking. I'm going to ask for a bit of vulnerability here. Raise your hand if you've ever felt not confident at one point in your life. Okay. Raise your hand if you've ever struggled with self-worth in your life, had low self-esteem. Okay, beautiful. One thing I want to quickly touch on before we begin talking about communication today is a concept I'm really passionate about. And for young people, I hope this really identifies because it's a concept that changed my life. And that is the distinction between confidence and self-worth. Now, confidence, by definition, is belief or faith in your ability to do something. Okay, belief or faith in your ability to do something. But self-worth is how you feel about yourself as a person, your worth as a human being. Right? Now, Brent was just talking about riding a bike before. Who here knows how to ride a bike? Okay, so if I put a bike here, would you be able to stand up, George, and be able to ride a bike pretty comfortably? Yeah, if you would have got on a bike, how would you get on the bike? You ride around? Yeah. There we go. Beautiful. Thank you, George. Thank you. So you feel pretty confident being able to ride a bike, correct? Now, who here remember that's the first time they ever rode a bike? They don't have that memory in their head the first time, few of you. I remember very clearly the first time I rode a bike. It was absolutely traumatizing. My dad was standing next to me. He's like, all right, Annelise, this is a bike. I'm like, okay. So I want you to get on the bike. So do one leg, and I had the training wheels. Anyone start with the training wheels as well? Yeah, you gotta start with the training wheels. And he's like, you're 1 foot here, and you pedal, right? So what happened is I started pedaling, and then I fell off. I grazed my knee, it started bleeding, I started crying. My dad's like, get back on the bike. I'm like, I don't want to get back on the bike. Get back on the bike. I don't want to get back on the bike. Get back on the bike. Okay. I love you, Dad. And I never saw him again. No, I'm kidding. And so what that was really impactful for me was because my first experience riding a bike, I wasn't a confident bike rider. I couldn't call myself a confident bike rider. Why? It was the very first time I'd done it. right? However, as a young girl, I thought I was pretty cool, right? Pretty high self-worth. It's pretty funny, like drama. So just because the very first time I rode a bike I wasn't good at it, didn't mean that I had low self-esteem as a person. Who's following my conversation here?